Welcome back. You're on the money with me, Liam Halligan. Now, in Northern Ireland this week, the Department of Agriculture has published the annual Rural Needs Assessment report. This looks at living standards across both urban and rural areas in Northern Ireland, examining how to address inequality between the two. Our Northern Ireland reporter, Dougie Beattie, has been finding out more.
The annual Rural Needs Assessment report is data from a collection of bodies based on schemes of assistance that have been issued across Northern Ireland, and it makes sure that the needs of those in rural areas are not bypassed by those in urban areas. But there will always be differences that are unavoidable.
You're right, there are obvious differences between urban living and rural living. I'm a rural dweller myself, and it's a lot more expensive, I have to put it like that, living in the country. I was born in the country and reared in the country, so I sort of have an affiliation with it, and that's why I've chosen to remain in the country. But there's no doubt that there are obstacles to living in the country compared with living in the town.
The most costly of all is the need for transport and all the finance that is needed around it. And let's not forget the push towards carbon neutral policies.
You know, there's an issue. Bus services, transportation in rural areas isn't as prolific as it is in the town. It isn't as simple, and of course it's more expensive. So with a vehicle, you have all the obvious expense of running it, diesel, petrol, the cost of that. If you choose public transport, you have a limited service. You have to sometimes drive to, for instance, a parking ride, then get a bus. So you're paying for a car and then you're paying for public transport, and those costs for vehicles are yearly. I've been lobbied by people who have electric vehicles, they live in the country, but they need the assurance of a charge point if they're travelling maybe 50 or 60 miles as part of their work. They need to have a network of charging points, otherwise it simply will not work.
When living in the countryside, such things as schooling may well become a challenge for those who are pushing a green agenda.
That is a real area of concern, and I know the Department of Education is aware of that, and each year they do seek to try and expand public transport to encourage as many people as possible to use public transport, and that needs to be a key policy in terms of the green energy agenda, whereas do away with 20, 30, 40 vehicles at a school when a bus can do a similar job or other means of transport. So you can see how very quickly we arrive at a situation where there are almost obstacles that can't be overcome, and they're meeting a brick wall whenever you come and consider green energy and what is actually achievable versus the reality. And that the reality is living in the country. There are certain obstacles that are just very, very expensive to overcome or almost impossible to overcome.
Reports have many headings, chapters and no real path, so it's important that this one is gathered, understood and acted upon.
This report, ties a lot of things together, ties all our councils together into one document, ties all our departments together into one document, and if you do read it, you can see where the direction of travel needs to go in terms of improving that, and very firmly with the green energy economy in mind.
Monitoring reports like these are commonplace throughout Europe, but with rural living being so much more expensive and less services, it's now more important than ever that financial fairness is seen to be done. Dougie Beattie, Rich Hill, Armagh.